Hey guys, it's Alexandra from Cre8tion Today I'm going to be showing you how to make a really easy striped double crochet beanie. You're going to find instructions for newborn size all the way up through adult large size. I'm going to take you every step of the way. You're going to find the written pattern for this linked down in the description box below. You can view it on my blog for free. If you are a newsletter subscriber, you can download the PDF for free. All you need to have is a Grow account, which is free to set up and you can use on any website that uses Grow to lock content. You can find out more about that and sign up for Grow in the PDF section of the blog post. To make this beanie, you're going to need some super bulky number 6 weight yarn. I'm using Lion Brand Woolies Thick and Quick. The lighter color is called Gray Marble and I think the brown color is called Barley. I love the tweed effect in these yarns. And while I probably wouldn't have paired them together to make a striped beanie, I just wanted to pull what I had in my stash and these are the two colorways that I had. So I think it turned out pretty nice. I'll pop the link to this yarn down in the description box below. I do also have it for sale through my new website, yarncraftsandcoffee.com. Or if you're local to Central Florida, you can find it in my Yarn Crafts and Coffee shop inside America's Antique Mall. I'll pop the information for that down in the description box as well. Alternatively, you could hold 2 to 3 strands of your favorite worsted weight yarn together to get the same thickness. Or if you can't do wool, then you can try something like Lion Brand Hometown, or We Crochet has one called Mill House. Whichever you choose, you'll just want to make sure that you check gauge. We're going to check gauge together, and gauge is really important so that the finished beanie will come out to the correct size. So you're going to want to make sure you have a soft tape measure handy so you can check gauge. Together with the super bulky weight yarn, I'm using an M13 9mm crochet hook. So you'll want to start with that hook, check gauge, and then switch as needed. At the end of the tutorial, I am going to show you how to weave in your ends using a clip from my super bulky Dylan Claire beanie without stripes worked in a solid color. So you'll see that beanie at the end. I have designed this beanie so that the stripe pattern works out evenly so that you start with one color and end with the same color. That's what makes my heart happy. You can adjust this however is best for you. You don't have to work in stripes. You could do a whole solid color. You could do a variegated yarn, you could do color blocks where you do half the beanie in one color and half the beanie in another color. You could even do a solid beanie except for the end, which you work in a coordinating color. A lot of really fun options. Let's go ahead and get started. We're going to start with a slip knot. So I've pulled the yarn over my fingers here. I'm going to wrap it around my index finger 2 times, hold the tension with my thumb and my middle finger. Pull the loop on the left up over the other one but not off my finger. Then I'll pull the loop on the left up over the other one and off my finger. Insert my hook into the loop that's on my finger and pull it off. Hold the working yarn in my right hand, short tail end in my left. I'll give that a tug. It's going to make this go to normal tension. Now if you're starting with a chain 3 and working into the first chain, I recommend leaving a longer than normal tail as it's going to pull some of that to make space for the extra stitches. We're going to start a little bit differently depending on the size that we're working, but all of them are going to start with a beginning chain. So to chain, we yarn over and pull through the loop on our hook. Yarn over, pull through the loop on our hook. Yarn over, pull through the loop on our hook. Each time we do that, we get one of these V shapes here, and each one of these V shapes is a chain. We don't count the loop that's on our hook, so we have 1, 2, 3 chains worked. If you're working the newborn size, 6 to 12 months, or toddler, this is where you're going to stop and start working the first round. So I'm going to show how to do this first round worked into the first chain. If you're working one of the other sizes, then you can jump down into the description box below, click the timestamp for the next part, and it will jump you forward so you can get started. For the newborn, 6 to 12 month, and toddler size, we're going to be working our stitches into this very first chain at the bottom that the slip stitch is attached to. To work a double crochet, we're going to yarn over, insert our hook right into the center of that chain, yarn over and pull through. There are 3 loops on your hook. Yarn over, pull through 2 loops, yarn over, pull through 2 loops. Yarn over, insert your hook into the center of that chain, yarn over and pull through. 3 loops on your hook, yarn over, pull through 2 loops, yarn over, pull through 2 loops. Yarn over, insert your hook into the center of that chain, yarn over and pull through. 3 loops on your hook, yarn over, pull through 2 loops, yarn over, pull through 2 loops. As we work these double crochets, you're going to see these V shapes here on the top. That's how you're going to count your stitches. So we have 1, 2, 3 double crochets worked, and then that beginning chain. And the beginning chain does not count as a stitch here, so we have 3 double crochets. As you continue to work into this chain, it's going to pull that strand out and that hole is going to get larger. You're going to want to make sure that you don't lose your strand, like it doesn't pull out completely. So if at any point it gets too big, just hold on to that slip knot, give that strand a tug, and it'll close it up. You're going to continue working double crochets in here. For the newborn size and toddler size, you're going to have 9 double crochets, and for the 6 to 12 month size, you're going to have 8 double crochets. Just before you get to the end, I think it's best if you work the last 2 stitches as close as possible. So you'll go ahead and hold on to your slip knot, give that strand a tug to close up that ring, and then finish working your stitches on top of this little section that you see here. It's going to be over that strand and then over the slip knot, and that's just going to help this lay flat. Then we're going to slip stitch join to the first double crochet. If you're not sure where your first double crochet is, the easiest way is going to be to count backwards using those V shapes at the top. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 double crochets. Insert your hook underneath both loops of that first double crochet, yarn over, pull through that stitch and through the loop that's on your hook to complete the round. That's a slip stitch join, and you might have a little bowl shape going on. Hold on to that center ring in between your fingers. I have my thumb here and then my index finger and my middle finger on the back. Give that strand a tug, but don't pull too tight as you can tear this thread. You'll see that center ring has closed up and your circle is laying flat. This hole might open back up while you work because this strand is not secured yet, but we'll completely close it up and secure it once we weave in our ends. Round 1 is now complete. I'm going to take this apart. I'm going to go back and show how to complete round 1 for the other sizes, and then we'll jump into round 2. If you want to fast forward, you can pop down into the description box below, click on the timestamp for round 2, and it will jump you forward in the video. For the 3 to 6 month size, child and adult sizes, you're going to start with a beginning chain that you're going to slip stitch join to form a ring and then work into that ring. So for 3 to 6 months, child and adult small, we're going to start with a chain of 5. And for the adult large, we're going to start with a chain of 6. So we have 3 chains right now. Go ahead and add however many chains you need to make that beginning chain. Then we're going to hold the tension of the loop on our hook, turn this horizontally, insert your hook into that very first chain at the bottom right in the center, yarn over, pull through that stitch and through the loop on your hook. That's going to create this ring here, and that's where we're going to work the first round. We're going to start with a chain 2. This chain 2 does not count as a stitch here. As we work, we're going to hold this beginning tail end to the back of the chains so that we can crochet over both together. We're going to be working double crochets into that center ring. To double crochet, you yarn over, insert your hook right into the center. You have the chain and the tail end on your hook. Then yarn over, pull through, 3 loops on your hook, yarn over, pull through 2 loops, yarn over, pull through 2 loops. Yarn over, insert your hook back into the center ring, yarn over and pull through, 3 loops on your hook, yarn over, pull through 2 loops, yarn over, pull through 2 loops. Yarn over, insert your hook into the center ring. As you do that, you have the chains and the tail end over your hook. Yarn over, pull through, 3 loops on your hook, yarn over, pull through 2 loops, yarn over, pull through 2 loops. We've just worked 3 double crochets. You can count them using the V shapes at the top. 1, 2, 3, and then there's the beginning chain. You're going to go ahead and continue working double crochets into that center ring all the way around. For the 3 to 6 month size, child and adult small, you're going to have 11 double crochets, and for the adult large size, you're going to have 12 double crochets. You should finish right up against your beginning chain, but if you find that you ran out of space, hold on to the fabric here in your left hand, grab your double crochet stitches with your right and pull it down, and the stitches will slide right down the chain. We're going to slip stitch join to the first double crochet of the round. If you're not sure where the first double crochet is, the easiest way is going to be to count backwards from where you just finished using those V shapes at the top. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, and 11. I worked 11 double crochets. I'm going to slip stitch join to that stitch by inserting my hook underneath both loops of the stitch. Yarn over, pull through that stitch and through the loop that's on my hook. To close up that center ring, I'm going to hold on to the fabric here in my right hand, thumb on top, index finger, middle finger on the back with the tail coming out of the center. I'm going to give that strand a tug, but don't pull too tight or you can tear this. As you continue to work, that hole might open back up because this tail is not secured yet, but we'll go ahead and take care of that when we weave in our ends. Round 1 is now complete. Now we're going to start increasing. That means working multiple stitches into the same stitch so that our circle will get larger but continue to lay flat. First thing we're going to do before beginning round 2 is bring in our new color. I'm going to be showing you how to change colors the way that I like to do for a seamless color change. I also don't like to weave in too many ends, so I am going to be carrying my yarn up inside the beanie, and I'll show you how to do that. If you prefer changing colors a different way, then go ahead and do it. If you're used to doing it in the last yarn over of the previous stitch, you can do it that way. I don't like to do it this way because, as you can see here in between these two stitches, there's a horizontal stitch right there. And that's just from the stitch that we currently have on our hook. So if we tightened it up, that would sort of disappear. That strand is visible when you change colors in the last yarn over of the previous stitch. So if I wanted to complete the slip stitch with my new color, you would see this strand in that color. To avoid that and get the most seamless color change, I'm going to bring in my new color now after I've already slip stitch joined round 1. So I have that loop on my hook after I just completed my slip stitch. I'm just going to hold the tension there. Drop the working yarn, pick up my new color. Mine is going to be brown. I'm going to form a loop here near the end, leaving a tail end long enough I can comfortably weave in, and put this loop on my hook. Then pull it through, grab the initial color and tighten it down so that this loop will disappear. Then I'll drop my tail end for my new color to the back, pick up the new color, chain 2, that's what we're going to start with, and you can see that that initial loop has disappeared. As you work, that loop might come back up because it's not secured yet. You just go back to the tail end, hold the fabric, and give it a tug. Now we're ready to go in our new color. Another thing I'm going to be sharing with you that's probably a little different than you're used to working is the way that I keep my seam straight. I'm going to pull up on this loop really quick. Usually when you start increasing, you work 2 stitches into this first stitch, 2 stitches into the next stitch, 2 stitches into the next stitch, all the way around. After you finish your last set of 2, then you slip stitch join. By working this way, I do not get a straight seam, and a traveling seam drives me crazy. So instead, I split my beginning increase. I work 1 stitch here into the first stitch here to the left of the beginning chain, work all my other stitches as normal. After I finish my last set of 2, I'll have 1 stitch left to complete the round, and that will go into the next stitch, which is also connected to the beginning chain, but when you work that stitch, it'll be to the right. And by working on either side of that beginning chain, it's going to keep that seam straight. So I'm going to be showing you how to work using this technique. If you prefer a different method for increasing, go ahead and do it. As long as we both end up with the same number of stitches at the end, it's fine. I'm going to continue this method into the body of the beanie as well, which is going to involve alternating our stitch placement, which will continue to keep that seam straight. So let's go here into round 2. We're going to start by working 1 double crochet into this very first stitch that the chain is coming out of. And again, we'll complete the second half of this increase at the end. We're now going to start working 2 double crochets into each stitch all the way around. So into this very next stitch, I'll work my first double crochet, and the second double crochet goes right back into the same exact stitch. So there are now 2 stitches into that 1 stitch. Then I'll continue working 2 stitches into the next stitch. There's my first one, and the second one goes right back into the same exact stitch. And you just continue working 2 stitches all the way around. Once you get to the end of this round, you're going to have double the number of stitches that you had in round 1. If you're following my technique here for splitting your increases, then you're going to have 1 less stitch because you'll still need to finish that last one after you finish your last set of 2. So I like to keep count as I'm going around. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 stitches using those V shapes at the top I'm counting, and I'll continue counting all the way around. I know that for the adult small size where I had 11 double crochets in round 1, I'm going to have 22 double crochets in round 2. That's 2 times 11. So when I finish here with 21 double crochets, I'll know that I have completed my last set of increases and I have just 1 stitch left. I like to keep count so that I don't miss any stitches as I'm going. If you're working the 6 to 12 month size, you're going to have 16 double crochets in this round. The newborn size and toddler size will have 18 double crochets. The 3 to 6 month size, child and adult small will have 22 double crochets, and the adult large size will have 24 double crochets. I'll see you at the end of this so we can work our last stitch together and slip stitch join. Here I've reached the end of my set of increases. I have 21 double crochets. I'm working the adult small size, and I'm gonna finish my last double crochet here to complete the round. I want to show you 2 ways to do this. There are several people who don't like the larger floats on the back, so I'm going to show you one way that you can have smaller floats on the back, and then I'll show you the other way, which is a slightly larger float on the back in the way that I normally work. Another way to avoid floats altogether is going to be to fasten off your yarn after you finish the round and then reattach the other color in the next round. I don't like to do this method just because I don't like to weave in too many ends, and you will have 2 ends per round if you fasten off each time. So method number 1, we're going to yarn over, insert our hook into this very next stitch here that you see just to the right of our beginning chain, yarn over and pull through. There are 3 loops on your hook. Hold the tension of the loops, go to the back, grab your initial color that you're switching to, tighten it up if that stitch has come loose, and then yarn over with it just to grab it on your hook. Now you have 4 loops on your hook. Yarn over, pull through that tail end from your initial color, and 2 loops on your hook to complete the first half of the double crochet. You see that that light gray strand is just sitting right on top of my yarn right now. To secure it in place, now we yarn over and pull through both loops to complete double crochet, and you see that it grabbed that light gray color right there in the middle of that stitch. Then insert your hook into the first double crochet under both loops of that V shape. I like to hold the tension here, grab that color you're switching to, yarn over with it so it's just sitting right on top of your hook. I'm holding the tension on the back of my work, and then I'm going to yarn over, pull through that stitch and through the loop on my hook. This is going to get that strand in place so you can switch to it now for this next round. Hold the tension of the loop on your hook, drop the current color, pick up that color you're switching to, and then you're going to do a chain 3. So basically you're yarning over and pulling through the current loop, then doing a chain 2 in the lighter color. That color you're switching to currently has a chain there. Go to the strand you dropped, hold on to the fabric, pull that strand, and it will tighten this loop up and disappear. Drop that strand to the back, and now you're ready to go with your new color. And then the same thing as before, if that loop comes up as you're working, just go to the back, tighten it back down, and it will disappear. I love this for a seamless color change. This is my favorite way to change colors. That's option number 1. Let me show you what the back looks like. You can see that you still do have some floats in there from when you're carrying your yarn, but they're smaller little floats. Let me take this out. I'm going to show you method number 2, which is the way that I normally work. We're going to work that next stitch of a round, yarn over, insert your hook into that very next stitch. That is where your chain is connected to. This double crochet will come out just to the right of that chain. Insert your hook underneath both loops of the first double crochet to slip stitch. Then go to the back, grab that color you're switching to, tighten it up if it's come loose, yarn over with it so it's sitting on top of your hook. Yarn over, pull through that stitch and the loop that's on your hook. And then we follow the same process here. Hold the tension of the loop on your hook, drop the current color, grab that color you're switching to, chain 3. When you complete the first chain, it creates a chain in that color you just finished the round with. And then you chain 2 in your current color that you're switching to. Grab the color you just switched from, pull on that tail so this loop will disappear, and then you're ready to go. Now on the back of this one you're going to have a longer float, whereas the other method kind of breaks that float in half. So completely up to you how you want to work it. I am going to be working mine like this with the longer floats, but if you want a refresher as you go for the shorter floats, then you can just go down into the description box below, click on the timestamp for it, and you can watch the change again. And again, if you don't want any floats, then you would fasten off at the end of each round after you slip stitch join and reattach your yarn in the next round. Now this is where we're going to stop and check gauge. If you're working the newborn size or 3 to 6 month size, this is where you're going to stop increasing, but we're going to check gauge for all of the sizes together at this point. You're going to lay it down flat on your surface. Grab your soft tape measure, measure from the edge of the left side directly across the center all the way up to the edge of the right side. This is how we measure the diameter of the circle. And I'll put up a chart showing the measurement that you're going to want it to be, depending on the size that you're working. Gauge is very important for this project because if you're currently not meeting gauge, it means that the finished beanie is not going to fit correctly. So if you're measuring smaller than the measurement I provided, you're going to want to go up a crochet hook size and rework this sample. And if you're measuring larger than the measurement I provided, you're going to want to go down a crochet hook size and rework this sample. Once you get to the end of round 2, then you'll check gauge again. Again, if you're currently not meeting gauge and you continue working your beanie, it's either going to be too small or too big. I'm going to continue showing the increases for the other sizes. If you're working the newborn size or the 3-month size and you want to jump forward, just go down into the description box below and click on the timestamp for that next round and it will jump you forward in the video. For all the remaining sizes, we have one more round of increasing to do. We've just done a chain 2 in our new color. We're going to work 1 double crochet into that first stitch that our chain is connected to. This double crochet will come out to the left of the beginning chain. We'll work the second half of this increase at the end once we complete the last set of increases here. Now we're going to work 1 double crochet into that next stitch. And then our repeat begins for this round. We're going to do 2 double crochets into the next stitch. And 1 double crochet into the next stitch. So our repeat is built up of 3 stitches. The repeat again, 2 stitches into the next stitch. And 1 double crochet into the next stitch. Continue working this repeat all the way around, 2 stitches into the next stitch, 1 stitch into the next stitch. Once you make it to the end, you'll finish with 1 double crochet here, and then we'll work 1 final stitch to complete that first set of increases. This round is going to finish with 3 times the number of stitches that you started with. So that will be 24 stitches for the 6 to 12 month size, 27 stitches for the toddler size, 33 stitches for the child and adult size, and 36 stitches for the adult large size. After I complete my last set of increases, I'll be back with you so we can work the final stitch together. Now I've just worked the last double crochet from my last set of increases. There's 1 stitch left that I need to work to complete that first set of increases. We're going to yarn over, insert my hook into that next stitch. This is going to be the same stitch that our chain is connected to, and this double crochet is going to come out to the right of that beginning chain. If you want to change colors to make that smaller float, then you'll want to do it in this double crochet. But I'm going to have that larger float in mind, so I'm going to do it at the end. Complete your double crochet. Insert your hook underneath both loops of that V shape from the first double crochet of the round. Grab the color you're going to be switching to, tighten it up if it's come loose, yarn over with that color so that it's sitting on your hook, and then complete your slip stitch by yarning over, pulling through that stitch and the loop that's on your hook. That's going to complete this round. And then to switch colors, hold the tension of the loop on my hook, drop the current color to the back, pick up the new color I'm switching to, and work a chain 3. The first chain here completes this stitch in that color that you just finished working. Then you'll have a chain 2 in your new color. Go to the back, grab the color you're switching from, pull on that strand so this loop will disappear. And now you're ready to go for the next round. Now this is where you're going to stop increasing for all those remaining sizes. You're going to want to check the measurement again, so lay it flat on your surface. Measure from the edge of the left side directly across the center to the edge of the right side. This is going to give you the finished diameter, and I'll put up a chart that shows what that measurement is going to be depending on the size that you're working. If this measurement is currently measuring smaller, you're going to want to go up a crochet hook size. If it's measuring larger, you're going to want to go down a crochet hook size. And again, if you continue working and it's not currently meeting the correct measurement, the finished beanie is not going to fit. Moving on to the next round, We're going to work it the same way for all of the sizes. We're just evenly double crocheting around. This does start the body of the beanie, and in the body of the beanie, the chain 2 is going to count as a double crochet. We're also going to be alternating our stitch placement to help keep our seam straight. So I'm going to show you how I do that. In this round, you're going to have the same number of stitches that you just finished working. We're just working 1 double crochet into each stitch all the way around. We're going to start by working our first double crochet into the second stitch. So not the stitch that our chain is connected to here, but the next double crochet after that. Yarn over, insert your hook underneath both loops of that stitch, yarn over and pull through, and then complete your double crochet. And now we continue working 1 double crochet into each stitch all the way around. You're going to want to make sure you keep count or count at the end to make sure you have the same number of stitches in this round that you did in the previous round. Once we get to the end, we'll slip stitch join together. Here I've worked the last stitch of my round. I'm working the adult small, so I have 33 double crochets including that beginning chain. Now I'm going to slip stitch join to the first double crochet as normal, but I am going to pull up the color I'm switching to, so insert there, go to the back, tighten up that color I'm switching to, yarn over with it, then complete my slip stitch. And before I continue, I'm just going to pull up a loop really quick. You're going to see this bowl shape. This is exactly what we want since we're no longer increasing. I like to go ahead and flip it to the right side facing, as it's the easiest to work when it looks like that. And this is how I'll hold it when I continue working. If you're working the newborn size, this is where you're going to stop for double crochet stitches. I've worked this pattern out so that the color that you start with is also the color that you end with. So in order to make that work, there's some rounds of single crochet at the end. If you don't care if your stitch pattern ends in that manner, then you can go ahead and add 1 more round of double crochet and then 1 round of single crochet. But if you're going to work it the same way that I have it, with several rounds of single crochet at the end, then just pop down into the description box below, click on the timestamp for the single crochet round, and it will jump you forward in the video. For all the other sizes, we're going to be doing another round of double crochet. I'm going to go ahead and switch my colors now. As I told you, we're going to be alternating our stitch placement, so we just finished working the first stitch into the second stitch of the round. For this next round, we're going to be working our first stitch into the very first stitch of the round. So yarn over, insert your hook into that stitch that the chain is connected to, and complete your first double crochet. Now continue working 1 double crochet into each stitch all the way around. Once you complete the round, you'll have the same number of stitches as you did in the previous round, and then we'll join together. Here I've worked my very last stitch of the round. I'm going to go ahead and slip stitch join, and when I do that, I'm going to bring in my new color. And now this round is complete. If you're working the 3 to 6 month size, the next 2 rounds are going to be worked in single crochet. So you'll want to go ahead and pop down into the description box below, click on the timestamp for the single crochet rounds, and it will jump you forward in the video. If you don't care whether or not the last round is worked in the same as the first color, then you can finish this with 1 more round of double crochet. I just like my colors to work out a certain way. For the next round, I'm going to go ahead and switch my colors now. Now here's where we're going to go back. 2 rows below, we worked that first stitch into the second double crochet. Then the row after that, we worked our first stitch into the first double crochet. Now we're going to go back, and the first stitch from this round is going to be worked into the second double crochet. Then you work 1 double crochet into each stitch all the way around. Once you finish this round, your last stitch is going to be worked into that same stitch that the chain is coming out of, and then we'll slip stitch join. For the 6 to 12 month size and the toddler size, you're going to be switching to rounds of single crochet after you join this round. For the other, you'll continue working in double crochet. For the double crochet round sizes, the next stitch will be worked into the first double crochet. And the next round after that will start in the second double crochet. And you keep alternating your placement from the second to the first stitch to keep that seam straight the whole time you're working. So I'm going to put up a chart now that shows how many rounds of double crochet you're going to want to have depending on the size that you're working. When I come back with you, I'm going to be showing you how to do the single crochet rounds. Now that I've completed all the rounds of double crochet for my beanie, I'm going to switch to single crochet. We're going to join this round in the top chain of the beginning chain 2. So the first chain is on the bottom, the second chain is on the top. Insert right into the center of that chain. And I'm going to be switching colors here, so I'm going to do the same process. This time just pulling through 2 times. That way I get 1 loop in the color I just switched from and 1 loop in the new color, because we're going to be working shorter stitches here. We're going to single crochet into the very first stitch, which is that same stitch we just slip stitched to in the chain. That's where the first single crochet is going to be worked. Then we'll single crochet into the next stitch and each stitch all the way around. Insert your hook right into the center of that chain, yarn over, pull through, 2 loops on your hook, yarn over, pull through both loops. Insert your hook into the next stitch, yarn over and pull through, 2 loops on your hook, yarn over, pull through both loops. Insert your hook into the next stitch, yarn over and pull through, 2 loops on your hook, yarn over and pull through both loops. We now have 1, 2, 3 single crochets. And we're going to continue single crocheting all the way around. At the end of the round, you're going to have the same number of stitches that you've been having, and then we'll slip stitch join to the first single crochet. Now, another way that you could work these rounds, which is a really cute little detail, is by single crocheting into the back loop only. So if you were interested in doing that, you would insert your hook down the top center of the V, pushing towards the back of the fabric to grab just that back loop only on your hook, and then complete your single crochet. So instead of inserting into the stitch as normal, you insert into the top center of the V, pushing towards the back of the fabric to grab just that back loop only on your hook, and complete a single crochet. Down the top center, pushing towards the back of the work, and you have just the back loop only on your hook. And when you do this, you leave that front loop unworked and it leaves this ridge line right here, which is a really pretty little detail, especially when you add multiple rounds of single crochet. So completely up to you how you want to do it. I'm just going to stick with regular single crochet for this beanie. Once I get to the end of the round, I'll be back with you so we can join together. Now I've reached the end of my round. Now if you're working the 6 to 12 month size or the adult large size, you only have 1 round of single crochet. So then you're just going to slip stitch join the round as normal, inserting underneath both loops of that first single crochet, and then you can fasten off. If you're working any of the other, you're going to add 2 more rounds. So I'm going to pull out my last stitch again, complete it in my current color, when I slip stitch join here, I'm going to pull up that color I'm switching to, put it on my hook, and then complete the slip stitch, and then switch, yarn over, pull through, tighten down that loop, and chain 1. Now I'm going to go again, working a single crochet into this very first stitch, and a single crochet into each stitch all the way around. Once I get back to the end, slip stitch join as normal. For the 3 to 6 month size and the child size, you'll finish with 2 rounds of single crochet. So after you slip stitch join, then you'll go ahead and finish there. If you're working in the back loop only, then you'll join in the back loop only. Joining in the back loop only means you're inserting into the top center of that V, pushing towards the back and picking up just the back loop only on your hook. Before you finish off, you're going to want to measure your beanie. So you're going to want to lay it flat, grab your soft tape measure, measure from the top center all the way down to the bottom edge to make sure that it measures the correct size. If it's measuring too small, you can always add extra rounds. If it's measuring too large, you can take rounds out. Better than measuring is going to be to try on your beanie. So if it's for you or for someone that you're able to have them try it on, you can do that at this point before you fasten off. I'm going to put up a chart that shows the finished lengths for all the beanies. This is the average length. It can be adjusted based on your preferences. For example, the adult small size is 8.5 inches, but I like my beanie to be about 8 to 8.25 inches. So I'm going to go ahead and adjust the ending for that before I fasten off. So go ahead and finish your rounds of single crochet, measure your beanie, and then I'll be back with you so that we can finish off and weave in our ends together. Once it's the length that you're looking for, then you'll go ahead and turn it back to the side that you were working on. Grab your scissors, fasten off, leaving a tail end long enough you can comfortably weave in. Pull up on this loop to break it. I like to bring it to the wrong side, so I'll insert from the wrong side or the back into the stitch I just slip stitched to. Yarn over, pull that tail end through to the back, and then turn the beanie to the wrong side so that we can weave in the ends. Then grab your tapestry needle and meet me back here so we can get these ends woven in. I'm using Wool Ease Thick and Quick for this beanie, so it's pretty easy to get this end into a tapestry needle. But if it's too difficult to get your yarn comfortably into a needle, you can also use a small crochet hook to weave in your ends. I'm not going to show this method here, but if you're interested, I'll pop the link to my video tutorial down in the description box for you. Another way that you can weave in ends is going to be by felting it if you're using a wool yarn. I don't use that method, but I know that All About Amy has shown how to do it back when she made the Afghan that's worked in Lion Brand Wool Ease Thick and Quick and has the flowers. So I'll see if I can find the link for that, and I'll pop that in the description box below as well. When I weave in my ends, I don't pick up the whole entire stitch on my needle. Instead, I insert my needle into the center, breaking that stitch in half, and I do that when I enter and when I exit, just to help capture my yarn better. I'm also going to be weaving vertically as opposed to horizontally. The beanie needs to stretch horizontally to fit my head. I don't want to prohibit any of the stretch, so I'm going to be working vertically into my stitches. I'm going to insert into a nearby stitch here, breaking it in half, and then I'm going to run vertically through several stitches there, breaking my last stitch in half when I exit. Another tool that I like to use when I'm weaving sometimes, if it's a tough yarn that I'm working with, is jewelry pliers. So I use the flat part there to grab my needle and pull it through. It really saves my thumbs. So you'll just want to make sure that the eye of your needle is facing you so you can see down it. And then grab your needle with that flat part, hold on to the fabric in between your fingers to prevent bunching, and give it a tug. And you might need to work slowly so you don't break your needle. I've broken the eye of my needle a couple times before. Once you get it through, use your fingers to pull it the rest of the way. Use your fingers to manipulate the fabric if your fabric has bunched up, because you just want it to lay naturally. You don't want it to look distorted. I do like to do 3 passes, so that's pass number 1 for me. insert into a nearby stitch, breaking it in half, run vertically back up through several stitches, breaking that last stitch in half when I exit. I'm going to make sure the eye of the needle is facing me so I can see directly down it. Then I'm going to grab my jewelry pliers, put the flat side onto my needle, hold the fabric in between my fingers, and pull it through. If you feel comfortable after 2 passes, you can fasten off. If you feel like you need to work another one, go ahead and do it. It's whatever is the best for you. I've gotten the needle through, then I'm going to hold the fabric in between my fingers and pull it the rest of the way. Then manipulate the fabric to make sure it's laying naturally. Laying flat, not bunched up, looks pretty. Insert into a nearby stitch here, break that in half, run back down through several of those same stitches. Eye of the needle's facing me, hold the fabric, pull the needle through. Manipulate the fabric. Once I'm happy with it, grab my scissors, fasten off. Then I'll go to the top where I have that center ring. I'm going to put my hand inside the beanie and scrunch it up. I'm going to bring my needle clockwise underneath all those stitches until I get back to the beginning, and then I'm going to push it through a couple more stitches past it. When I come out this last time, I'm going to break that last stitch in half. Then I want to hold onto the fabric in between my fingers and give it a tug, and be careful not to pull too tight or you can tear your thread. Then I'm going to hold the tension here with my thumb so I can work back through several of those same stitches. Now I want to secure it in place. So that's my first pass, and I'm going to complete my second and third passes. Same way as I did before, breaking the first stitch in half when I exit, running through several of those stitches vertically, and breaking the last stitch when I exit. After I get the needle through here, and I can grab onto the yarn, that's when I'm going to release my thumb over here. Manipulate the fabric because you don't want it to bunch up here. And then one more pass. And now I can fasten off. Turn my beanie to the right side facing. And it's ready to wear out. Guys, thanks so much for watching my video. I hope you enjoyed this one. Drop me a comment below letting me know what colors you're going to be using for your striped beanie. You're going to find the written instructions for this linked in the description box below. It would help me out a ton if you would smash that like button to let YouTube know you enjoyed this video, and subscribe while you're there. And I'll catch you in the next one.